The Dallas Stars are doing very well right now, but they are hoping to continue to trend upwards. On today's show, we will take a look at the newest power rankings as voted on by every host of every NHL Locked On podcast. And then after that, we'll take a moment and preview tonight's big matchup between the Dallas Stars and Columbus Blue Jackets with a brief appearance from Jay Forster of Locked On Blue Jackets. All of this and more coming up on today's episode of Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. Welcome back to the Locked On Stars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Dane Lewis. It is Thursday, December 2nd, and you are locked on the Dallas Stars. Today's episode is brought to you by Stat Hero. Stat Hero is the first of its kind daily fantasy sports platform where it's you versus the house and head-to-head fantasy matchups, winner take all. Sign up for free right now at stathero.com/hockey and use promo code hockey for a 100% deposit match. Well, this is a huge game that the Dallas Stars have coming up tonight as they look to extend their win streak to 6 games. They currently own the longest win streak across the entire NHL at 5 right now, playing very, very well. We've been talking about it over the past few episodes about how dominant this team has been, but maybe this team isn't getting quite the respect that it should be. We're going to take a look at the newest updated NHL power rankings amongst the Locked On Podcast Network's NHL show host, as voted on by myself and everyone else there. But before we do that, got to take a moment and say thank you for stopping by today's episode of Locked On Stars. Whether this is your first time here or you are a recurring listener, thank you for making Locked On Stars your first listen of the day. Be sure to subscribe and follow the podcast wherever you get your podcast at, whether that is on a podcasting platform or on YouTube. I think we crossed 75 subscribers on YouTube yesterday, so thank you guys for that. But without any further ado, let's get right down to it and talk about some power rankings, mainly the disrespect is the word I'm choosing for where the Dallas Stars are. You can find the newest updated power rankings. You can go to the Locked On Stars Twitter page. I've retweeted it. You can go to the Locked On Podcast Network's Twitter page and find it. Or if you're on YouTube, I'll throw it up on the screen every now and then for you to see the newest updated rankings. But if you take a look and see the Dallas Stars have moved up, which is nice. I will say that it's nice to see that they have moved up, but they've moved from 24 to 22. And I just am not a fan of that spot. I voted them, I believe, at 16th. I don't think that they're like a top 10 team in the league instantly because of this win streak, but I do think they belong somewhere near the top 15 at least. 22 just doesn't feel right to me. The only 22 I need in my life is Taylor's version. Okay. Disrespect is something that the Dallas Stars know all too well. But maybe if they keep extending this win streak, they will continue to move upwards, which will be really nice. I just think that they're below some teams that they shouldn't be. I think they're below some teams that they are better than, and that if they played right now, that they would beat. And unfortunately, I don't think we play any of these teams anytime soon, except for one of them. And one of them is the team that we play tonight in the Columbus Blue Jackets. The New Jersey Devils at number 21. They're fine. They're 9-7-4. They are only one spot above Dallas at 21, but even just little things like that, like 21 would be better than 22. And I think Dallas is better than this New Jersey team. Obviously, we're only going to see them twice this season, and I don't think we see them for a while. So we might not have, a whole lot of time between now and then. It can't really be proven. But I do think, and I don't think too many people would disagree that this Stars team, especially as of right now, is better than the New Jersey Devils. Pittsburgh at 17. Pittsburgh's just been so wishy-washy, inconsistent. Injuries have also plagued this team. Granted, I think Dallas, obviously they beat them earlier in the season, but, I think Dallas overall is a better team when you consider health and just also where they are as of right now based on ranking for this week and what has happened in the past week. I think they're better than Pittsburgh. Detroit sits at number 20. Dallas has beaten them fairly recently. Detroit obviously surprising a lot of people this season, playing very well, having a good season, but seem to be slowing down after their kind of hot start to start the year. I think Dallas is better than Detroit as well. And, some of those teams kind of close to that 22 spot. But again, if Dallas is above those teams, they move a little bit closer to the top 15, which I think, at number 15 or maybe just behind at 16 where I voted them. I think that's about right for where this Stars team is at right now, especially compared to some of the teams at the top. Columbus ranked at 16th. Hopefully, if Dallas gets this win and rattles off a few wins this week, they'll move up even more, and we won't have to complain about being so low on the list. I just want to be up there with some of the top dogs. There's been some staples in that top 10 for a long, long time this season. Your Carolinas, your Floridas, your Edmontons, your Tampa Bays. I just want Dallas to be there, man. I just want them to be there. But speaking of those top teams, it's even more interesting that they haven't really moved up even farther. And maybe it's just people not wanting to overreact. You could argue that I've been overreacting about the Stars a lot during this win streak, but I truly do believe that this win streak is not a fluke and that we are truly seeing the Dallas Stars of 2021, 2022. This is the team that we thought that they could be. And I think they've just finally unlocked their potential and they're playing the way that they should be. I don't think this is an odd streak. I don't think it's a fluke because look at the teams that they beat. They beat the number 2 ranked on this list, Carolina Hurricanes, 4-1 on Tuesday night. They dominated them from the get-go. The Edmonton Oilers, pretty much the same thing. They beat them soundly. Granted, a lot of these wins were at home, but still, a win is a win in the National Hockey League, especially against teams like this. Oilers, number 5 on the list right now. Dallas has beaten them recently. Number 6 on the list is the Calgary Flames. It's been a while since Dallas played them, but Dallas did beat them. Pretty huge win to beat them on the road, too. The number 9 New York Rangers, of course, that was literally the first game of the season. You don't necessarily factor that into this week's power rankings, but still worth noting that that's a team that Dallas has beat this season, regardless of what time of season it was. Dallas does have a win over them right now in their back pocket. The Avalanche come in at number 10. The Blues come in at 11. Those are 2 other teams that Dallas has gotten the best of this season, and quite soundly, I might add. So it's just interesting. Dallas continues to add these nice wins to their resume. Of course, they have some really ugly losses earlier in the season, but again, those are so far back, you don't really count those in to the current power rankings. I think you should be factoring in some of these wins over these top 10 teams, allegedly. And maybe Dallas just needs to get a few more of those, and maybe they need to scrape together a few more wins in this win streak to maybe get moved into that top 15 and potentially top 10 spot. But all very interesting. Of course, it's voted on by about 30-ish people each week. It's not a huge, massive group of people, and it's everyone that works here at the Locked On Podcast Network doing a show for the NHL. And so obviously, it's going to be different every week and people see the game differently, including myself. My opinions, are my opinions and I believe these things, but that doesn't necessarily make them right. You guys might not, you guys might think 22 is great. I know some of you were responding on Twitter, agreeing with me that 22 feels a bit too low. But I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think Dallas is going to be just fine if they continue to play well like they have been. Eventually, like I said, the win streak will end at some point. We don't know when, hopefully not anytime soon. But if they're able to be consistent and not really go on any bad losing streaks of this degree, flipping the script of the winning streak, I think that they're going to be just okay. And obviously, the power rankings here don't necessarily determine how the season's going to end, but it just makes it nice to talk about. And the power rankings always make for fun debate, fun talking points, and fun storylines. Well, coming up next, we will take a moment and preview tonight's game against the Columbus Blue Jackets that's going down at the American Airlines Center. But before we do that, I do want to take a moment and say thank you to some of the sponsors of today's episode. And the first of those is Stat Hero. No one plays daily fantasy sports to lose. Winning feels so much better. But traditional fantasy sports are a long-term, long proposition because you never know who or what you're up against. Stat Hero is the first of its kind in daily fantasy sports. It's a platform where it's you versus the house in head-to-head fantasy matchups. Winner takes all. And here's the crazy part. Stat Hero shows you their lineups before you play, and you handpick the team that you want to face one-on-one. With Stat Hero, you are in control of the stakes. You decide how much you're going to play for, and Stat Hero has no choice but to take it because they are daring you to beat them. Sign up for free right now at stathero.com/hockey and then use the promo code hockey for a 100% deposit match. Super easy to remember. That's stathero.com/hockey, and the promo code is also hockey for a 100% match. Again, stathero.com/hockey, promo code hockey at stathero.com. Terms and conditions apply. Moving on to the next segment of today's episode of Locked On Stars, your first listen of the day. I do want to take a moment and preview tonight's matchup between the Dallas Stars and Columbus Blue Jackets with the help of Jay Forster from Locked On Blue Jackets. Unfortunately, we were not able to cross over for a full episode together, but Jay was kind enough to send us a video talking about this Columbus Blue Jackets team, giving us a little bit of an update on this team since the last time we saw them back in October. So without any further ado, here is Jay Forster of Locked On Blue Jackets to give us an update on this Columbus team.
Hey guys, Jay Forster from Locked On Blue Jackets here. Just a quick preview for tonight's matchup against the Dallas Stars. The lineup looks roughly the same, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. A notable missing player is Patrik Laine, who's been out for about 4 weeks now with an oblique injury. He's getting closer to return, but he will not be playing in tonight's game. We have got Boquist back. He was missing last game. Max Domi was also missing last game, I believe. So we got those two players back. But apart from that, it should be much of the same lineup that you guys faced in Columbus in October. So hopefully we get the same result. In terms of recent play, the Blue Jackets have been doing okay. They are 8-5 since we faced Dallas. We just are on a 2-game losing streak at the minute, which doesn't sound too bad, except when you look at it, we lost 6-3 to St. Louis, and then most recently 6-0 to the Nashville Predators. Kind of a worrying bit of adversity. It is only the second time the Blue Jackets have lost back-to-back games so far this season. We have not yet lost 3 back-to-back, so, I'm hoping that we can continue that trend. But this is a very young team. This is the first time they've faced any kind of real adversity in their season. 2 tough back-to-back losses. Merzlikins got pulled 7 minutes into the game after allowing 3 goals on 9 shots, which I believe is also the first time we've pulled a goalie for the backup this season. So I'm not sure who's going to be playing tonight. I like to think it would be Merzlikins to kind of let him recover, I guess, from the poor game against Nashville, but it could equally be Korpisalo, who I thought played fine in the 50-something minutes that he played after expecting to back up. He allowed 3 goals as well on significantly more shots, but I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them. I'd like to think it would be Merzlikins, though. In terms of other things, there's not, like I say, there's not a ton of changes, but there's some things that I'd like to see. The power play continues to improve. We scored 2 power play goals against St. Louis at the weekend. We did not score on the power play against Nashville. We didn't score at all against Nashville. We've not great, but it is what it is. The penalty kill continues to be strong. I believe we allowed a power play goal against Nashville, but we are 10th in the league in penalty kill, I believe. We are 12th in power play. So special teams should be a thing. The Blue Jackets love to do crime this season, so I'm expecting at least 3 to 4 minor penalties from this team, because that's just kind of how we've been rolling recently. So the Stars sitting at 4th in power play percentage. I fully expect you guys to take advantage of our penalty kill, which again is not bad, but is not 4th in the league good. equally, I would expect us to maybe take advantage of the fact that the penalty kill for Dallas is not very good, sitting at 20th in the league. The Blue Jackets, like I said, the power play has been pretty good. It's been on a kind of a quiet streak recently, obviously with the loss of Patrick Laine has affected that, but Jacob Voracek continues to perform. He's got 17 points this season, and I believe 15 of them are primary assists. He is 9th in the league in power play points per 60, so that is definitely a player to watch out for if the Dallas Stars decide that they want to take a lot of penalties. Zach Werenski is looking pretty sharp in terms of other players to watch. I believe he had a point streak, a 5 or 6 game point streak broken by the Dallas Stars. Another player to watch, Anna Boquist, who has scored. He scored 3 goals at the weekend. He scored 1 against Vancouver and 2 against St. Louis. All 3 of which were unexpected goals from a defenseman, but as the kind of the main piece that we got back from the Seth Jones trade, I'm pretty happy with how he's turning out, how he's developing. He is still kind of learning his spot in the lineup, I think, but if he could really get going, then he could be a real difference maker. He's definitely one to watch. And then the only other player that I think is really on the radar is our current points leader, which is Oliver Bjorkstrand. But he's been in kind of a quiet space at the minute. He's got 19 points on the season, so he's just over a point or just under a point per game, excuse me. No goals in his last 4 games. Only 1 assist, which was against St. Louis. So it's you'd hope that he is picking up, and I mean, I personally would like to see him do pretty well tonight. So that is one to watch. Like I say, no goals in his past 4 games. Hopefully, he can turn that around tonight against the Dallas Stars, and that's kind of all the big players that you should really have to pay attention to. Boone Jenner is always dangerous, especially on the power play. He's currently leading the team in goals with 10, so keep an eye out for him. He loves to crash the net and just kind of hang around and deflect the puck and generally cause chaos, so that's another player to watch. If you would like some more kind of in detail analysis of the Blue Jackets and tonight's game, you can find them at Locked on Blue Jackets. We're LO_Blue Jackets on Twitter. We are in your podcast app of choice. And if you would like to mix in some dog pictures or Star Wars opinions with your hockey, then I am at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. Enjoy the game, guys, but hopefully not too much.
Big thank you to Jay for sending that video my way. There's your insight and analysis on where the Blue Jackets are right now. No, Patrick Laine is a pretty huge storyline for this game. He's a very talented young player on that Blue Jackets roster, a very young Blue Jackets team, kind of similar to some other young teams we've played recently that is surprising people this season, off to a pretty good start, but they are on a 2-game losing streak to Central Division teams. So maybe the Dallas Stars can keep that trend going while establishing more of a streak of their own. But going to be a huge game. Thank you again to Jay for sending that video our way. Well, coming up next, I will give you my predictions for tonight's matchup. But before we do that, I got to take a moment and say thank you to some of the other sponsors of today's episode. And the first of those is Primal Origin Oils. If you or someone you care about has a beard, it needs to get Primal. Maybe you're that guy that has never considered the benefits of treating your beard with product. Primal Origin Oils will stop the itch and make your beard look healthy and groomed. Their goal is to help others look good and live healthier lives through their use of natural oils. The products are free from harmful synthetic ingredients and with low impact on our planet. Primal Origin Oils makes balms, oils, and whipped butter that are renowned for the best feel and beard products available. This is due to the exotic carrier blend with oils like raspberry seed, rosehip, and chai seed oil. All products are fair trade certified and handcrafted in the USA. Most companies focus on fragrance first, and that leads to a product that does not feel good on the skin. We took a step back and focused on the ingredients first to ensure a product that feels great and still smells fantastic. We know that every company claims to have the best, but Primal Origin Oils challenges you to compare their ingredients and feel endeared to other companies you've used. We promise you will see and feel the difference. Remember, the code locked on gets you 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. Again, use code locked on at checkout for 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered all season for more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues to march towards the playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on just your first deposit. Just use the promo code Locked On to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. And to wrap up today's episode of Locked on Stars, I want to take a moment and run through my overall predictions and final thoughts on tonight's matchup. It's a pretty big game for both of these teams. Both teams currently sit at 24 points, about the middle of the pack in their respective divisions. Dallas in the Central, Columbus in the Metropolitan Division. And the Columbus Blue Jackets need this win in order to avoid their first 3-game losing streak of the season. They have not lost 3 consecutive games so far this year. But like I said earlier, they've already lost 2 in a row to 2 other Central Division teams in St. Louis and Nashville, and pretty huge losses. Blowout losses, I might add. So Dallas will really be looking to add to that and win solidly, and make Columbus lose their 3rd game in a row. While on the other hand, Dallas really needs this win to keep the win streak going and to keep pace in the really crowded Central Division. This Central Division is getting absolutely insane right now. Teams are switching spots every single night because of, point differentials. A lot of teams separated by only 1 or 2 points. It's absolutely crazy, but Dallas needs this win in order to keep pace and continue to establish themselves in the Central Division amongst some of the top teams that are currently up at the top. So they really need a big night from their top line. I think that this is going to be another great showing for Rupe, Pavs, and Robo. Can't wait to see what they have in store. They've been playing some of the best hockey of the season by any top line so far. Their effort is just unmatched every time they're on the ice. They play so smart, so fast, so aggressive. And I can't wait to see how they, look to exploit this Columbus Blue Jackets team. And if the Stars score early and they score often, there's no reason why they can't win this game. It's been a recipe for success over this win streak over the past several games, especially at home, but even on the road in Arizona, we saw what happened when they scored quick. So if Dallas is able to get out to a hot start, no reason in the world that they can't come away with their 6th straight win and send Columbus packing with their 3rd consecutive loss. I'm not sure who will be in net for the Dallas Stars, but at this point, I'm not too worried on who gets the nod from Coach Bowness. If it's Braden Holtby or Jake Ottinger, I'm very confident in either of those guys. We saw Braden Holtby with his best performance of the season on Tuesday, and obviously Jake Ottinger is 4-0, I believe, right now, playing very, very well. Just probably getting some much needed rest, 2 games in a row after some really, really good efforts. So I'll be excited to watch whoever is in the net for the Stars, but I'm confident in either Braden Holtby or Jake Ottinger. As far as score predictions, I think the Dallas Stars will win this game. I don't think you're going to see me bet against the Dallas Stars while they're on this win streak, but especially this game, I do think that Dallas is the better team. I thought that was the case last time these teams played, but obviously we know looking back that Dallas was not in a good place as a team back whenever they traveled to Ohio back in October and lost. But now they've come so far and they're playing so well right now. And I don't see the win streak coming to an end tonight. I think they win by a score of 5-2. I think it's going to be another very solid, very sound win. And as far as first goal, I think Tyler Seguin gets the first goal of the night. And just because the Stars have been scoring fast, let's get weird with it and go for a time prediction. I think Tyler Seguin scores the first goal, and I think he scores it 3 minutes and 12 seconds into the game. If I'm right, I'm gonna lose my mind. I still don't think I'm right on a first goal prediction. Maybe once or twice I have been. I know I was almost right on a Radulov one a few games ago, but then the goal ended up being credited to another player because of a deflection. But if I get player and time right, you guys are never going to hear the end of it, and I'm gonna lose my mind. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked on Stars. Thank you again for making Locked on Stars your first listen of the day. Now go make your second listen of the day, the Locked on Bets podcast, your daily one-stop shop for all of your gambling needs. Locked on Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Be sure to subscribe and follow the Locked on Stars podcast wherever you get your podcast at, whether that's on a podcasting platform or on YouTube. Be sure to leave a review if you like what you hear. I always appreciate seeing those. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Dane_Lewis. That's at DANE 2_LEWIS. You can also find the show on Twitter. Just search at Locked on Stars, and it's real easy to find. If you're going to the game tonight, be safe getting there. Be safe at the game. Have fun. Have a good time. Be loud. Wear green. Go Stars. And we will see you back here tomorrow to wrap up the week and recap the big game that's going down tonight. And we'll see you tomorrow, Stars fans.